Shabbat shalom, everyone. It's so wonderful to be together on this Shabbat of song. So I want to encourage you to sing often, early, and all the time. We're getting ready to cross the sea. And as we prepare to put our foot into the water, let's take a breath. Just breathing in all the stuff before it. Put that foot in the water and breathe out. Breathe in. Take that step. Breathe out. And we join together on page 99, Elohai Neshama. Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tehorahi. Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tehorahi. Elohai Neshama Shenata Tabi Tehora Tehorahi. Elohai Neshama Shenata Tabi Tehora Tehorahi. We turn to page 103. We rise. Actually, it's not 103, 143. For Oziv Zimrat Yah, which is part of the Song of the Sea, which we're going to hear later. Third line from the left, Adonai is my strength and my might. God is my deliverance. Ozi, and please rise. Vezimrat Yah. Vayehili Lishua. Ozi, Vezimrat Yah. Vayehili Lishua. Ozi, Vezimrat Yah. Vayehili Lishua. Ozi, Vezimrat Yah. Vayehili Lishua. Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed. Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed.
Thank you, Chazan Mimi. I'm here, you may be seated, those of you here in the sanctuary with me. We have about 10 people here, and the weather conditions here in sunny Southern California have not been so sunny, so there's lots of rain until this morning. Our outside areas quite muddy, and so we're inside, but we are fulfilling all of the CDC requirements, and we have our COVID-19 committee that makes sure we adhere to them as well. So we're all wearing masks here, except when the family's going to be up front. And they're away from me about 15 feet away. I'll have my mask on when they have theirs off over there. We are being very, very careful because this is very serious stuff. We hope that you are all being safe as well. I want to thank Hazan Mimi for setting the stage today. We'll be reading in the Torah portion, the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea. And we kind of feel, if you will, that evolution, that journey with the Israelites. We begin with them being redeemed. So I want you to feel redeemed right now. All of you here, I want you to feel free. I want you to feel good and strong. And then we're going to get to the Sea of Reeds. And then there's going to be that moment of anxiety. Will we make it? Will it open? Will it not? And then we'll celebrate together with that Song of the Sea. This is our Shabbat morning. We're going to be reading. You'll be hearing that theme quite a bit more. The first of our prayers acknowledging us as a sacred community. Even those of you who are watching there at home, you are part of our minyan, our sacred quorum and sacred community. You're celebrating with the Hurwitz family. Sarah, you feeling okay? I got a thumbs up, and Dan and Shelly are here with their families. Some of them, some will be coming in by Zoom later on, but we're just feel so blessed to share and celebrate with them. Those of you, if you will, to rise for the Baruch Hu, page 149.
Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach. Your turn. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Hey, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or uvorei choshech, Osi shalom uvorei et hakol. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la.
Shabbat Shalom will continue on page 153 with Or Chadash.
Or Chadash al Zion Ta'ir, al Zion Ta'ir. ונזכה כולנו מהרה אור חדש על ציון תאיר. יאללה ליי ליי ליי, יאללה ליי ליי ליי, יאללה ליי 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 ליי. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאור.
We'll start to bring together the four corners of our tzitzit as we prepare for the Shema. We're on page 154 towards the bottom of the page, Vahavienu.
Vahavienu l'shalom me'arba kanfot haaretz v'torichenu קוממיות לארצנו. כי ארבו אל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרב ותנו לשמך הגדול, לשמך הגדול, סלע ואמת להודות לך. הוא יחידך, הוא יחידך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
We're going to invite Sarah to lead us in the Shema this morning. We're on page 155.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meyodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha V'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshobecha uvkumecha uchshatam leot al yadecha v'hayu leitotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam Al mezizot beitecha uvisharecha.
We're going to continue to ourselves quietly at the top of page 156. Hi. Sarah is going to continue in the middle of page 156 with Vayomer.
Leman tiske. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael ve'armata lehem ve'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem leidorotam ve'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf petil techelet ve'haya lachem letzitzit uritem oto uzkartem et kol mitzvot Adonai vasitem otam velo taturu acharei levavechem ve'acharei nechem asher atem zonim achareihem leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vehitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hotzeiti Etchem Meretz Mitzrayim, Leot Lachem Leelohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Excellent job, Sarah. We are going to continue our service now on page 158 with Micha Mocha.
One more time, here we go. Mocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder v'kodesh, Nora tehilo, Nora tehilo, שירה חדשה שיבחו יהולים לשמחה על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדחנו מחד יהודה וישראל, go עלינו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Sarah is going to begin the Amidah. We're on page 159 and we'll ask you to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot, Umevi Goel Lifnei Venem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Chozer Ufoked Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufoked Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayim Eitzim atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv Haruach Umerid Hagashem, Mechalkel Hayim Bechesed, Mechaye Meitim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Ba'al Geburot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Veneta Leachayot Meitim, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaMeitim.
נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר.
נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ כבודו.
אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים כל מנזרים ומצרפים.
אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנסים לעומת סרפים, מתנסים לעומת סרפים, מתנסים לעומת סרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו.
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך? תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו, לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, ולנצח נצחים. בעינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. בעינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. על ידי משה, David. My name's Moshe. Al Yedei. David. Mashiach tzidkecha. Al Yedei. David. Al Yedei. David. Al Yedei. David. Mashiach tzidkecha. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We'll continue praying to ourselves through page 166 in the Hebrew, in the English, or whatever prayers are in your heart.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. היי לה 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 לה
Kaddish Shalem, page 167.
יגדל ויגדש שמי רבה, ועלמד דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם לעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה, בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה דמירון בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
We are about to begin the Torah service, and even though we're all separated, those in the sanctuary will be taking the Torah out of the ark and preparing to read from it. And as we do that, Chazan Mimi will lead us in Ki Mitzion, page 168.
Mitzion, Tetzei Torah, Uvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Mitzion, Tetzei Torah, Uvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo, Torah le'amo Yisrael. Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. B'kedusha toku Mitzion, Tetzei Torah, Uvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Ki Mitzion, Tetzei Torah, Uvar Adonai miYerushalayim.
It's time for our Torah reading service, and We have symbolically taken out the Torah. Thank you, Chazan Mimi. So those of you at home or here in the sanctuary, you can put aside now the prayer book. We won't be needing it during the Torah service. If you put it on a table or somewhere nearby, that'll be appreciated. You can take out the larger red book. For those of you at home, you can take out your Chumash. If you have ours, the Eitz Chaim will be announcing pages. If not, we'll also announce the chapters and verses. Like, for example, we'll be beginning the Torah reading just in a moment on chapter 14, verse 15. That's 14:15. If you're in the Eitz Chaim Chumash, it's page 403. And we begin today, B'shalach Paro. That's the name of the portion, B'shalach. Lishloach, that means to send out. When Pharaoh sent out the Israelites, and this is the post-Exodus, if you will, when they leave Egypt itself, they are in the wilderness. We're going to get to, in a moment, I alluded to earlier in our service, the idea that the Israelites, in just a moment, momentarily, as we read, they'll be standing at the Sea of Reeds and they're going to be waiting. They're going to be waiting to see the approaching army of Pharaoh behind them. They've got the water in front of them. Will it part for them? Do they have faith? What is in store for them? It's on the seats, right? You're on the edge of your seats wondering how this story is going to end. Well, we're going to help you with that. In the meantime, as we start our Torah reading, I'm going to call for Dan and Shelley and Sarah. If you come forward there, you'll be able to take off your mask once you get up there. And you're going to share some words with Sarah and then present her with the Talit. Go ahead.
Sarah, today you become a woman in the Jewish tradition. Your mom and I cannot be more proud of you. Not just because of the woman you're growing into, but also the Jewish adult who's standing on the bima for your bat mitzvah.
Every Jewish girl your age goes through some similar changes and challenges at this time in their lives. They all mature, they all spend months studying and preparing to lead the service and read from the Torah, and they all write and deliver one of their first public speeches. But your journey to becoming a bat mitzvah has been truly and uniquely challenging. The way you found your way through it has shown what a truly remarkable young woman you've become.
During the years that many Jewish girls start to learn to read and speak Hebrew, chant from the Torah, and lead prayers, you've also had to deal with difficult changes. Your mom and I got divorced and both got remarried and dropped lots of new family members into your life. You lost your maternal grandparents, who were always such an important part of your life and who you'd always been so close with. For most of your life, they were a tremendous part of your Jewish identity, spending seders and high holiday dinners and Shabbats with you year in and year out, and you need to know how proud they would be of you today. In so many ways, the family that you knew for your first decade changed dramatically, even as you were growing into bat mitzvah age.
And how did you react to these changes? A big part of it has been how you've clung to your identity as a Jewish girl and embraced that side of yourself. You took comfort in Jewish summer camp at Camp JCA, making some of the closest friends you've ever had. You dedicated yourself that much more to your bat mitzvah studies as a way to keep your life moving forward the way you always wanted for yourself, and the results today have been truly amazing. You learned that life is not always black and white, and that there are shades of gray. That family comes in so many forms and so many shapes. The talit that we are going to give you in a moment is from your Zadie Robert and your Booby Cheryl, given to you with the same love as you feel from your Grammy and your Grampy, from your Bubby and Zadie in Florida, from your uncles and your aunts in so many places today.
And while many kids your age have to deal with loss and family changes, you've had to deal with something that hasn't been seen in 100 years, a global pandemic. For centuries, being Jewish has been about overcoming some of the worst challenges imaginable. And here you were, having to prepare to become bat mitzvah in a world shut down, never once able to meet in person with Chazan Mimi or Rabbi Golko to help you prepare.
But your special journey had a challenge that even other kids turning 13 in this strangest year in memory haven't had to deal with. You and your whole family actually caught and overcame the coronavirus right when you were in the home stretch of preparing for today. COVID may not be a uniquely Jewish challenge, but the way you've overcome it to make it to your bat mitzvah ceremony and absolutely crush it has been truly remarkable.
All of this has made your mom and me and your sister, grandparents, aunts and uncles, step-parents and new siblings so very proud and so deeply honored to be with you today, here and online, to celebrate the bright, brilliant, beautiful young Jewish woman you've become, and to look forward to so many simchas with you in the future. Mazel tov, Sarah. We love you.
Sarah, you're going to take that talit now, recite the blessing, first time as a bat mitzvah. Dan, if you put the microphone in front of her. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen.
יעמדו דניאל בן אליעזר ואורנה יצחקה ושלי בת אריה ובכנה ראשון.
The first Aliyah can be found in the Eitz Chaim Chumash on page 403. That's Exodus chapter 14, verse 15. And Sarah will be reading after Daniel and Shelley recite the blessings.
Baruch hu Adonai hamvarach. Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe matit ak elai daber el bnei Yisrael vayisa'u ve'ata harem et matecha unte et yadecha al hayam uvkaehu vayavohu bnei Yisrael Betuch hayam bayabasha vani hineni mechazek et le Mitzrayim vayavou acharehem veikavedi befaro v'chochelo berichbo ufarashav veyadeu Mitzrayim ki ani Adonai veikavedi keraber Berichbo ufarashav vayisa malach Elohim haholech lifnei machnei Yisrael vayalech me'acharehem vayisa amud he'anan mipneihem vayamud me'acharehem uvein machanei Mitzrayim uvein machanei Yisrael vayehi hanan ve'achoshech vaya'er et halayla belo karav zeh el zeh kol halayla.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, Dan and Shelley, as you actually take a seat, Sarah, I'm going to have you stay there for a moment. Oh, Dan, you're going to stay right because you're going to be reading Torah in just a moment, all right? But so don't go too far. So the Israelites, they leave Egypt. And then they quickly, right, 7 days, they're getting to the Sea of Reeds. What do we learn in life? By the way, before the pandemic even, that's why I talk about blessings for your daughter, in terms of how do you acknowledge those blessings in the midst of everything, the pandemic, your family getting COVID, like how do you find them? Even before the pandemic, how many of you were into expressions of gratitude? It's been for a while. People even in the evening would write their gratitudes for the day to acknowledge the blessings that we have. It's harder during this pandemic to find those blessings sometimes. Limited choices. How do you find them? The life that none of us imagined. When you can't go out, it's hard to see family. But how do we find those blessings and what do they mean? We have a lot to learn from our portion. It's interesting that as soon as they pass through the Sea of Reeds, well, they should be grateful for that. 3 days later, they're at a place called Marah, in which the waters are bitter. And then Moses cries out to God, and God shows him a piece of wood. Moses throws the wood into the water, and it turns sweet. Now, didn't look like a supernatural miracle to the Israelites, just something that made life sweet. But by the way, you do need water, don't you? Right? Isn't water a minimum? Should you be grateful for water? Well, by the way, in some places like in Detroit, I think you're grateful for clean water. But to be grateful for water, we need it. So when we talk about the Israelites kvetching, if you know what that term means, like to really complain about something. Is it bad they complained about not having water? Of course not. They need water to survive. And then they come right after that, by the way, to a place called Elim, where it's an oasis, and there is clean and beautiful water that they drink from. And then it's a month later, it's a month after leaving Egypt, actually. So a couple weeks later, they complain to Moses, they're hungry, and they want something to eat now. By the way, it was a month, so they had enough food maybe to last them. They hadn't found anything to eat in the wilderness that we know of. And so they complain. And in response to it, they're told, I'm going to read for you the section here, which is on page 415. Verse 8, let me find it. And so I'll start in verse 6. So Moses and Aaron said to the Israelites, by evening you shall know it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning you shall behold the presence of the Lord, because he has heard your grumblings against the Lord. For who are we that you should grumble against us, since it is the Lord? That's Moses and Aaron complaining. Who will give us flesh to eat in the evening and bread in the morning to fill, because the Lord has heard the grumblings? What is this idea of flesh in the evening? Well, the bread in the morning is eventually we call it manna, because they're not sure what to call it, and it's called manhu. What is it, literally, which is interesting. In response to it, it says that you shall have flesh in the evening and manna in the morning. Now, most of us know about the manna that falls every day, and they had to go out every morning to collect that manna. It was only good for that day, otherwise it would rot overnight. On Shabbat, right, on Friday, they would collect a double portion, which is why we have 2 halot on the table on Friday night, if you didn't know that, because there was a double portion of manna that Israelites could collect, and it would stay overnight. It's the only time. But what about this flesh? We don't hear about it again until the book of Numbers, when they complain about the flesh and about wanting meat, and God provides them, and it says it comes out of their nostrils. There was so much. And this story, I've never understood it before, and it's always troubled me. What is this flesh, the meat, about? Did they get it all the time, by the way, in the wilderness? What were their blessings on a daily basis? And I found out that the rabbis actually argued about this. They didn't know how to understand it. Rashi had this to say about the whole complaint of and wanting meat itself. Because the bread they asked for was a proper thing to demand, since it's impossible for a person to exist without bread. Right? But meat they asked for improperly, for they had abundant cattle. We forget, by the way, they had lots of cattle they brought out there that eventually that they used to sacrifice to God. Besides, it was possible for them to exist without meat. On this account, he gave it to them at evening, at a time when it would cause them trouble and would not be so easy for them to collect. So what is this verse setting a stage for? It's okay, you want bread, that's fine. You want more than their basic needs? Well, maybe you should think about what does it mean and how much can you live on? And then the rabbis aren't sure how often this meat fell. It's the first time I've studied these sources, and it was so fascinating. So one said that it only fell during the first year of their travels, and after that, the quail stopped. And hence we have the story in Numbers where they complain and they want more again. They had it for a while, didn't have any more. Were they grateful for what they had? What do they want it now? And then Ramban, Nachmanides in the Middle Ages as well, he says that it fell occasionally. That's how he resolved this problem. He said it fell every so often, but they wouldn't know when because you don't want to expect it. Isn't that something about expectations? When are we disappointed? When we expect something, we don't get it. Isn't that true? Right? You think it's coming and then it's not. So according to Maimonides, it would come at irregular periods. Why? Just so that would be grateful whenever it came. They wouldn't expect it in any given moment. And other rabbis argue about how often that quail might have come. And it didn't. I argued and I thought about, what does it matter how often it came? Are these just rabbis just arguing the point to argue, as we see sometimes in Jewish tradition? And it occurred to me that they're really trying to talk about what are our expectations, right? How often do we expect everything in life to go our way? And how often are we satisfied with just life being okay? We've talked about this a lot. Right? A lot of people expect life to be amazing every day. Other people say, you know what, give me 1 day a week. Right? Give me 1 day. I'd love just a good day. And then other people, even now during this pandemic, look for a little moment. Well, we've been wandering the wilderness for a while. What are our expectations about what we can have? Our expectations were dashed. We thought those vaccinations were going to be coming out quickly, strongly for everybody, and then not so quickly. Didn't that hurt a little bit? And you got excited about it. So I think the rabbis look at these stories in the Torah, it's remarkable, are trying to teach us to have realistic expectations of life, not to have great disappointment when things don't go our way, and to never really feel, if you can, that pain of not having, and thinking, what's an essential part of my life? Is it really like water and bread? Or my expectations maybe sometimes a little bit too high? How do we live in that moment? The Torah is trying to convey some of that, certainly through the rabbis. And I pray for all of us that we should have vaccinations quickly for all of us, and we should be all in health. Let's continue with the second Torah reading, and we're going to welcome. You'll be able to find it on page 14, chapter 14, verse 21. It's page 404, and we're going to have all the way from Florida, our dear friends Bill and Ivy are going to be called forward just now, and Dan is going to read the Torah for us here.
יעמדו אליעזר בן חיים ואורנה יצחקה בת סולל ונעמי שני. Unmute.
Baruch hu et Adonai habarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai habarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayet Moshe et yado al hayam vayolech Adonai al hayam beruach kadima zakol halayla v'yasam et hayam lechabecha vayabekeu hamayim Vayavo b'nei Yisrael b'toch hayam vayavasha v'hamayim lachem homa miminam umismolam vayardapi mitzrayim vayavo acharechem Kol sus paro rigbo uparashav al tochayam vayehi b'ashmerut haboker vayishkach Adonai al michanam mitzrayim bi'amod esh ve'anan vayechem et Mikana Mitzrayim Vayasar et Afen Markavatav Vayanagehu Bigvedud Vayomer Mitzrayim Anusa Mipnei Yisrael Ki Adonai Nilcham Lachem B'Mitzrayim.
Ivy and Bill.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notat b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We'll join together now for a prayer for healing because, as Rabbi Vogel mentioned, so many people, as we're waiting for the vaccine in anticipation, people are getting sick. People need some emotional healing as well. So let's join together in Misha Berach. Praying for the healing of Elon Shayot, Dina Bat Yocheved, Vivian Jesus, Chaim Ben Sarah, Ruvain Ben Malka, Chana Bat Fegel, Tikva Bat Gila Elisheva, Rachel Sarah Bat Leah, Shoshana Bat Serel, Sarah Bat Rachel, Harvey Saltz, Susan Stavis, Lori Simon, Yehuda Ben Yosef Zev HaKohen, Vifreda Bat Beryl HaIsraelite, Yisraela Bat Chaya Glickle, Hinda Bat Irene, Helene Levy, Rachel Bat Moshe Aharon, Sam Lazar, Casa Leah Bat Adeline, Greg Norman, Pesach Ben Eliezer Umalka, and of course, everyone who's suffering from the coronavirus and all frontline workers who are putting themselves at risk. Continue now with the third Aliyah. Rabbi Adam Schaefer will be reading for us, and just wait until you see his virtual background and how appropriate it is for what he's going to be reading. He will be reading from starting on page 405 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash, Exodus chapter 14, verse 26. And because he'll be reading Shirat Hayam, when we get to chapter 15, verse 1, please rise wherever you're seated to honor this special reading. And first, Kazan Stein will call up Dan for the Aliyah.
Ya'amud Dan ben Arya uvichna shlishi.
Et Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah Le'olam Vahed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natalanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Rabbi Adam, are you with us?
Sorry, forgot to unmute. Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, נטה את ידך על הים, וישובו המים על מצרים, על רכבו ועל פרשיו. ויית משה את ידו על הים, וישוב הים לפנות בוקר לאיתנו, ומצרים נסים לקראתו, וינער אדוני את מצרים בתוך הים. וישובו המים, ויכסו את הרכב ואת פרשים, לכל חיל פרעה הבאים אחריהם בים. לא נשאר בהם עד אחד, ובני ישראל הלכו ביבשה בתוך הים, והמים לכם חומה מימינם ומשמאלם. ויושע אדוני ביום ההוא את ישראל, ביום ההוא את ישראל מיד מצרים, וירא ישראל את מצרים מת על שפת הים. וירא ישראל את היד הגדולה אשר עשה אדוני במצרים, ויראו העם את אדוני, ויאמינו באדוני ומשה עבדו. אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני, ויאמרו לאמור, השירו לאדוני, כי גאו גאה, סוס ורוחבו רמה בים. עוזי וזמרת יה, והילי לישועה, זני וענווהו, אלוהי אבי ורוממנו. אדוני איש מלחמה, אדוני שמו. מרכבות פרעה, וחילו ירה בים, ומבחר שלישיו טובעו וימצאו, תהומות יחסיומו, וירדו במבצולות כמו אבן. ימינך אדוני נדרי בכוח, ימינך אדוני תרעת אויב. וברוב גאונך תהרוס קמך, תשלח חרונך, יאכלמו כקש. וברוח אפיך נערמו מים, ניצבו כמו נד נוזלים, קפאו תהומות בלב ים. אמר אויב, ארדוף אשיג אחלק שלל, תמלאם נפשי אריק חרבי, תורישמו ידי. נשבת ברוחך כי שמו ים, צללו כעופרת במים אדירים. מי כמוך בעינים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. נטית ימינך, תבלעמו ארץ, נחית בחסדך עמזו גאלת, נהלת בעוזך אל נווה קודשך, שמעו עמים ירגזון, חיל אחז יושבי פלשת, אז נבהלו אלופי אדום, אלי מואב יוחזמו רעד, נמוגו כל יושבי כנען. תיפול עליהם אימתה ופחד, בגדול זרועך ידמו כאבן, עד יעבור עמך אדוני, עד יעבור עמזו קנית. תביאמו ותטעמו בהנחלתך, מכון שבטך, פעלת אדוני מקדש, אדוני כוננו ידיך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. כי בא סוס פרעה ברכבו פרשיו בים, וישב אדוני עליהם את מי הים, ובני ישראל הלכו יבשה בתוך הים. ותיקח מרים הנביאה אחות אהרון את הטוב בידה, ותצאנה כל הנשים אחריה, בתופים ובמחולות, ותן להם מרים, שירו לאדוני, כי גאו גאה, סוס ורוכבו, רמה וים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayah olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
We want to thank all of our Torah readers this morning, Rabbi Adam Schaefer, Dan Hurwitz, and of course, Sarah Hurwitz, who is going to read for us again in just a few minutes. But first, we'll continue with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah b'ilma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala bagala uv'izman kariv v'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach Le'olam l'almei almaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yishtamam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha berichu le'elamin kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran be'alma ve'imru amen.
הבחורה הבת מצווה תעמוד תעמוד שרה בת דניאל ושלי רביעי
That was all. Look at the chazan. That was all for you. That was all for you, Sarah. Look at you. Now you're up here as a bat mitzvah. You're going to share some of your thoughts on today's portion before you begin the Aliyah for your own bat mitzvah and Torah reading. Continue.
In my Torah portion, Bashalach, the Israelites are escaping from Egypt. Although Adonai wants them to escape, he makes it challenging. For example, there are many times where the Israelites did not have food to eat or water to drink. The Israelites complained to Moses about every obstacle on their journey. Moses always told them that if they believed and worshiped Adonai, their problems will be solved. After 40 years, the Israelites reached Canaan, where they could grow their own food and take care of themselves. When reading my portion, I noticed that Adonai did not solve all of the Israelites' problems right away. I think that Adonai did this on purpose so that the Israelites wouldn't take anything for granted once they arrived in Canaan. This is relevant to today because before COVID-19 hit, we all took hanging out with our friends and family for granted. I thought that I would always be able to go to school and hang out with my friends. I also thought that my family and I would always be healthy. but school has been closed this entire year, and me and my entire household tested positive for COVID-19. While I had COVID, I wasn't able to taste or smell anything, which was something I never thought about before. I have also lost contact with many of my friends. It is much harder to feel like you are part of a community when everyone is virtual. I know that I will no longer take these things for granted, and I will now be grateful for some of the simpler things that I did not always think about. Becoming a bat mitzvah means that I am now more mature and I have a better understanding of what it means to be Jewish and to carry on the tradition. For example, learning the Torah, celebrating Jewish holidays, spending time with my family, attending Hebrew school, going to camp, and helping out people in need. One of my favorite Jewish traditions is having Shabbat with my family, and not only because I love challah, but I also love spending time with my uncle and both of my cousins. I want to keep practicing these traditions and passing them on. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Yeah. Vayomer Moshe Beit Adonai Lachem ba'erev basar lechol velechem ba'boker lisboa vishmoa Adonai et telunotechem asher atem alenim alav venachnu ma lo aleinu telunotechem ki al Adonai. Vayomer Moshe el Aharon emor el kol adat b'nei Yisrael kirvu lifnei Adonai ki shema et tilunotechem vayehi kadaber Aharon el kol adat b'nei Yisrael vayifnu el hamidbar v'nei kevod Adonai near Be'anan. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, Yehelanu, 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 L'chol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, L'chol Yisrael. Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayam. David Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayam. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, Yehelanu.
You'd think by the amount of candy that was thrown up here that there are about 100 people in here. But I want to assure you there are 10. All that candy and all the noise you're hearing are from about 10 people who Sarah are making up for the numbers that are not here physically. You feeling better?
Yeah.
Oh. Isn't it a great moment? Those of you who've been through a bar bat mitzvah, this moment when it's all done, just about the heavy lifting, and you feel, now you can almost really appreciate it. Isn't it true?
Yes.
Oh, Sarah, we are so pleased to be able to celebrate this moment with you. We have some of your family here, and clearly some of your family is not able to be here. They're by live streaming. Your grandparents, our dearly beloved Bill and Ivy. What do you call them, Gramps?
Bubby and Zadie.
Bubby and Zadie, right, who are here on Zoom. And it breaks our hearts not to be able to be here in person, because this as well is their community. And we are just celebrating this moment in your life and being able to find the meaning and appreciation. What you said was beautiful. I hope you really believe that to be able to find appreciation for things. And the question problem that happens later on, Sarah, is do we go back to the old way and our expectations change again and we lose gratitude? Isn't that the trick?
Yes.
And the rabbis, and by the way, the Torah is conscious of that too. In the book of Deuteronomy, you should, if you can read it sometime, it's a sad book because Moses keeps saying, I know you're going to forget all of your blessings and the gratitude you have when you go into the land. The experience of the 40 years of wandering will be gone. I hope that you carry that with you. I love that this is your portion for lots of reasons, including the image of Miriam. As they passed through the Sea of Reeds, it's not enough that everybody sang together. It was Miriam who led the women. And I kind of look at you and think of Miriam a little bit. You who love to have fun, who love to shake it up a little bit, you always want to make things a little bit exciting, sometimes maybe too exciting for your parents, I don't know. But the idea of being able to help people celebrate, Sarah, that's what life is about. That's what Miriam did, and that's what you're doing for us today. To be able to have your family, an extended family, an extended family, and everybody who's here to be able to celebrate is just such a wonderful blessing. And we're going to share a blessing now of Shechianu. So I'm going to invite your family to come up at this moment. And everybody, you can, if you're at home and you want to stand, you're welcome to join the blessings of Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. One more time, really loud and strong. Amen. Amen.
We'll continue now. We're back in the Siddur. We're on page 181, Ashrei.
Ashrei yoshvei veitecha od yahalelucha sela. Tehillah Adonai yedaber pi, vivarech kol basar Shem kodsho leolam, va'ed va'anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata ve'ad olam, hallelujah.
We'll conclude the Torah service now with Eitz Chaim. We're on page 184.
Eitz Chaim hi, b'machazim
take some time now for personal prayer and reflection. We want to invite you to daven the Musaf Amidah if you'd like to. It can be found from page 185 to 192. You can feel free to pray in Hebrew or in English, or to just take a few minutes and pray from the heart.
Say shalom, shalom bimroha. Yase shalom, yase shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimroha. Yase shalom, yase shalom. Avinu makenu, yase shalom. Sur Israel, yase shalom. Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Ya'aseh Shalom. Harachaman, Ya'aseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom. Shalom Imroma, Ya'aseh Shalom. Ya'aseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom. Shalom Imroma, Ya'aseh Shalom. Ya'aseh Shalom.
Kaddish Shalem, page 203.
יתגדל ויגדל שמי רבה, ועמד דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון ובימיכון וחייך לבית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם לעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ותאמין עשה ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירת ושפחתה ונחמת אדם ירון בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון וברכון לכל בית ישראל כאדם אהוב לשמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב מן שמיה וחיים עלינו כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן.
Sarah will lead us in Aleinu. We rise, page 205.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'aytet gedula le'yotzer breshit, shelo asani k'gilei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot harama, shelo samchel kenu kahem, וגורלנו כחומם ואנחנו קוראים ומשחררים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסי הארץ Umoshav Yakaro Bashamayim Ima'al Bishina Tuzo Bishina Tuzo Bigave Merumi Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Mitmachenu Efazulato Kakatu Betorato Yadayam Vahashavota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu Ha-Elohim Bashamayim Mima'al Ve'al Ha'aretz Ve'al Ha'aretz Mitachat Enod Enod Kakatu Beitoratecha Adonai Melech Leolam Va'ed Benemar V'haya Adonai Lemelech Al Kol Haaretz Bayom Ha'u Yihyeh Adonai Echad Ushamo Echad.
You may be seated. Sarah, it's harder when you're up there alone, isn't it? No rabbi, no cantors around, just me and my voice, and I apologize for that. But it's nice to be able to share with everybody. I'm going to share some announcements at this time, but if you are somebody who has the obligation to recite the Mortis Kaddish on this Shabbat, we welcome you to log on to the Zoom now, and you can join us. We'll let you in there, and then you could feel greater sense of community as you recite those words. But first, let me give you some happenings here at Temple Aliyah. It's so nice to have you all join us. Our regulars, you're going to stay on afterwards, joining in by Zoom for our virtual Kiddush luncheon. We don't provide the food, we just provide the fun and the entertainment and discussion. So even if you just come in for 5 minutes to say hello, we'd love to see everybody. Our cookbooks are here, by the way, fundraiser, quarantine cookbooks. Who thought that they'd still we'd have them printed and out and you'd still have time to eat to use the recipes. Ben Borschman, you're like, oh no, it'll be done. We'll be through the pandemic. It'll be gone. Sorry, we're going to have a little bit more time for those recipes to be able to be used. Pulpit exchange. We're going to be exchanging. Rabbi Cameron is going to be here and I will be at Shomrei Torah 2 Saturday mornings, different ones, the 2nd, 13th, and the 27th. Probably going to be all virtual. It'd be great for our communities to come together as we collaborate and figure out exciting things to be able to do together. So look for that excitement. We also have a Friday night coming up. We're going to be with Congregation B'nai Israel in Tustin on a Friday night. So look for that information as well. Purim is less than a month away. We are hard at work preparing our celebration that truly embraces today's virtual world. We're calling it Purim 2021, a very 2020 Purim. I think it's... Right? This is, we're still in 2020. That's all. It's going to be here for a while, unfortunately. So you're going to join us. We're going to have so much fun. Please check out our website for all the events that are coming up. We have community wisdom education series, celebrity chefs. Oh, this is great about cooking series. You have to join. Heard great things about it. Scholar stream. We have Chai, Sababa, Teen. So much going on. We hope that even during these tough times, we can keep you connected. We're not here all the time, but you can always reach us. All you have to do is send an email address to the @templealiyah.org. Rabbi Vogel, Rabbi Galko, Hazan Stein, Hazan Mimi, Maureen, we're all here virtually. You just have to send out, we'll be with you. In the meantime, we're going to turn now to the words of the Kaddish. Before we recite those words of remembrance and life and sanctity, I'm going to acknowledge those people for whom we acknowledge and remember their yortzites, the anniversaries of their passing on this Shabbat. On this Shabbat, remember Linny Cohen, Meyer Marcus, Ben Raskin, Meyer Sherrick, Manuel Zalomik, Marvin Berkson, Warren Boydell, Jack Glazer, Herbert Hoffman, Jerry Millman, Gabriel Orland, Frank Sokol, Irving Steinberg, Kay Alpern, Dove Burko, Chris Clark, Yohav Kamer, Herbert Rosengard, Maurice Russo, Sydney Chapin, Felicia Zoberman, Charlotte Zweibel, Rose Bulletin, Eileen Brauman, David Dryman, Christopher Joseph, Jerry Kahane, Richard Salop, Carrie Shancer, Joseph Singer, Sylvia Thaw, Carol Einbinder, Saul Balick, Maddie Block, Saul Braun, Milton Kalig, Gus Fishman, Miriam Flesser, Manuel Fredgant, Alan Goldberg, Labish Goldstein, Ben Kahane, Abraham Klein, Florence Levy, Ben Mickle, Stephen Slotnick, Ruth Abrams, Morris Adelsberg, Anna Chodosh, Florence Cohen, Sally Hagan, Elias Carlin, Daisy Katzen, Theodore Pomerantz, Anna Ravener, Hy Steinberg, Murray Topi, Alex Blank, Dorothy Krieger, Irene Dwosh, Betty Fazio, Sarah Sank, Belle Sherless, and Nettie Wellenkin. We're also mindful of the recent bereavements suffered by our community. We mourn the passing of Stan Curlin, longtime member, husband of Sheila Curlin. Our condolences to the entire Curlin family. We also mourn the passing of Riza Raphael Pazeshki, father of Shahili Solomon. So for those reciting words of the Kaddish, I invite you to rise. If you are by live streaming, you're here in the sanctuary, those of you who wish to recite it. And if you are on our Zoom now and wish to recite the words of the Kaddish, you can unmute yourself. We're actually going to, going to spotlight me. So even if you are, we hear you, we won't see you. So we're working to do this better. So if you want, we'd love to hear your voices reciting with us. We're going to do it slowly, clearly together. Page 207, the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit
Gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Yamad yibrach v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayei b'chol Beit Yisrael v'agalau v'zman kari v'yimu amen.
Amen.
Shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha v'yifu le'elamim kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'yoma v'yimru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim Kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
May God establish His peace in the heavens, grant peace and harmony for us, for all of Israel, and all of humanity, as we say, Amen. We're going to now go to our kiddush and motzi and all the things we do. And so, Shelley, you're going to get the grape juice ready for her, right? Is it all ready and everything's set up? We're set. We're going to invite the family to come up and join with us again. And Sarah, you're going to get ready to help lead us as Hazan Mimi, I think, is going to start with us with the Shamrim.
Torah Elokeinu berach Adonai et yom hashabbat ve'yakadshehu savarich chaverai.
L'chaim!
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Drink up that grape juice just a little bit. Now you're going to wash your hands, the ritual of Netilat Yadayim. Hand that off the cup to somebody. Walk over to the bowl there and just put across each of your hands. Just in ancient times, they had to be in a pure state before approaching the altar. We don't have sacrifice anymore. We have a meal table, and that's where we'll do motzi then. So just wash, and then Sarah, if you'll step up with a towel and dry your hands, step up to the microphone, and you're going to do Al Netilat Yadayim. All right, there you go. Okay, sit, yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen. Now take the challah, which is the best challah in the world, guys. I'm going to tell you that we order. It is so sweet and good. It's like candy. So go ahead, give it over to Sarah, and you're going to lead us in motzi. Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat.